Today, no, go away, dog. Today I want to do an address with the matter of gatekeepers in regards to MK Ultra. I'm not sure how it works for SRA, but I should think it works the same. But what it is when they make the altars, and the other day I explained how that occurs somewhat. When they make the altars, then it's like they're made up of different altars, and even the person who is speaking now, say, the host altar as we call it, that's an altar in itself. So there's other altars, that one's called the gatekeeper, that is there to make sure that you, the host, do what the handler wants done. And so in a sense, the gatekeeper is like your handler, but it's inside you. And it's following instructions either out of fear or out of some sort of promise of success in some way. Now, people don't want that to be true because they want to believe that, no, they're in control of their thoughts and they know what they're doing and it's all in their control. But in truth, it isn't. Because if you was to try and do something that wasn't in line with what the gatekeeper's been told to keep you in line with, then you would have all sorts of obstructions. And you might find that in life. You might find that if you do certain things, you feel tired, you fall asleep. Or like your brain goes fuzzy and you can't remember what you was talking about. Or you go off topic onto another topic. These are all things that the gatekeeper has been given the skills to do. So when you're thinking about something, like now I'll have a gatekeeper that would be trying to maybe not get me to say certain things, or not that I'm aware of, and it's very, very subtle, so you wouldn't, it's not clear cut, you wouldn't recognise it, you would just think it's your fault. You might think, oh, shall I go out today or shouldn't I go out today? And in that equation the gatekeeper will help you decide. So when you decide things, the gatekeeper is either encouraging you to go down that path or discouraging you in some way, like by distracting you with something other. So the gatekeeper's job is to keep you busy on your agenda. So you may have found, like, oh, in life, I mean to do these things and then I never do them. I want to do exercise, I never do it. That's the gatekeeper stopping you doing the exercise, or preventing you, because once you recognise, you see, this is the thing that I'm trying to show, is once you can sit back and look and say, right, what is it that in life I want to do but I end up never doing? Because once you see that, then that's starting to mark out where the gatekeeper's boundaries are. And in a sense, the way I work is to find out where the boundaries are, what is stopping me. So like now, I can't stay awake in the evening, and I can't stay awake, and I know that's the gatekeeper's keeping me, getting me to go to sleep, because then I won't go out and socialise. And I think that is currently what my handlers want, is because I was out there socialising, and it's not how they want it. So in a sense, I will fall asleep, I will find something else to do, I will be busy. And I've had all this issue with the tax people. Apparently they're going to pay me Monday, but they haven't paid me for months, and that will be entangled in with it. Not for all people, but it can be controlled, because we're dealing with, this is like high up that decide what you do and don't do. And if you become aware of what your gatekeeper's up to, then you will start going against it. Then they have to review what you do. So like I used to stay awake late, but what happened was I stayed awake all night so that they couldn't come and access me, and it caused problems. So now it's like, oh, you guys sleep but you ain't going out, is what I believe. Now, so the gatekeeper's job is to keep you busy, focused on what is not against what you've been instructed to do, and probably encourage you to do what you wanted to be doing by handlers. And every a person who's under MK Ultra, or even just SRA, like trauma, mind control of just, you know, satanic ritual abuse, then there still will be handlers, and they don't, I mean, you're a slave, so you're not meant to be like monitored and kept a tight rein on and under surveillance, because the way you're a slave. So a slave will monitor themselves via the gatekeeper, and then the handler they would report to, and if they were going against what the handlers want, then that would have to be addressed. But most people ain't even aware that they're programmed. Most people, even if they're programmed, ain't aware of their gatekeeper, ain't aware of what the handler's agendas are. So therefore they're pretty malleable, and they just need to be instructed. And the gatekeepers, you know, had your life of steering you. And this is the thing, is you know, you as a host, you feel like, oh, I'm really clever and I'm really wise. And like, I'm clever and wise. But the thing is, I only know the bit of my life that I know. I don't know the other parts of my life, where my gatekeeper will know this life that I'm living and also other parts of my life. So therefore they're more knowledgeable, and it's a bit like if you don't know the rules to the game, you know, if you don't know how the magic is done, if you don't know there's a game going on, then, and you're not thinking that way, then you're just going to follow what you think you want to do. So as I say, the gatekeeper will be following the handler's instructions, and they're very cunning, because they have to be cunning, and really they're probably more clever than you are too, which may sound strange, but I'm not going there now. So they'll plan ahead, knowing what's in store, and knowing what you want to do, and they'll know what you're deciding to do, how you're thinking, because they do. And they're also there to make ways for us to be accessed, because it's like, well, we're meant to report, and either be just reporting on what we're doing, however often that is. I don't know how often it's meant to be, maybe once a month, but I really don't know. But we're meant to report, and then we're meant to be usable. So therefore the gatekeeper will have that in mind and plan our life accordingly without our awareness, because we don't know when the reporting is going to happen, we don't know when the access, where the gatekeeper will, but they're not really on our side. They may be on our side, but they may be threatened that if they was to go against what the handlers want, there would be serious consequences. So their job is also to plan our life in according to how what is wanted from us. So when we go to sleep, because a lot of people are accessed while they're asleep. A lot of people are used while they're asleep in various ways. I mean, a lot of people want to go on, oh yeah, I astrally project, and I go and do work under astral projection. And that is true, that people do astral project and people do work under astral projection, and there's a lot of work going on there. But that's not the only thing that they're doing. But in a sense it helps with denial, because that's another part of what the gatekeeper will do, is help you to deny. So if, say, you come to realise something, you see a bruise on your arm and you think, well, that looks just like a fingerprint to me, and I don't remember anywhere that I've done anything to make that fingerprint, then you're on to like seeing the truth. But then the gatekeeper might say, no, it must be something else. And so you go, oh yeah, it must be something else, that's what it is, something else. Or some other distraction to help you deny what evidence there is. Also a complacency of, oh, I'll deal with it later. I mean, one of the ways to help yourself is to journal things, so that you can see, oh, this happens always on that date, or this day, or with that person. And if you journal, you start seeing a pattern evolve, where the gatekeeper might be encouraging you to journal later. Don't do that now. Don't make that priority. Make going to the shops priority. You know, these things are priority. So they're sort of there to dismiss you away from, dismiss what you're thinking that could be nearer the truth. A lot of people have it around exercise. I mean, if you're doing loads of exercise, then the chances are that someone wants you very fit for something. But if they would rather that you stayed in your house and not go anywhere, then as well they'll incorporate into that you never get round to doing exercise, because that would help you, enable you to go out. And so if they want you housebound, then what happens is you get that you don't do the exercise. You want to do the exercise, but you don't. And that's where the gatekeeper's coming along and going, oh, we'll do it later, or whatever. So, yes, it'll control, well, they will control your thinking a lot. And there's also programming in that for like MK Ultra, like the spin programming, where everything will spin if you're thinking down the wrong road, and as far as they're concerned wrong, or your head will go cloudy. If your head does spin, and if you're MK Ultra, it may well spin when you're thinking about things that they don't want you thinking about, is a way I found is to put your head like that and like that. And that, because the spinning is to do with the liquid in the inner ear, but it somehow as well that helps. I mean, at the end of the day, if you keep doing things that outwit the things, then your handlers will find other ways to get you to do it. But at the end of the day, these are the solutions. So journaling is very good for seeing patterns evolve and who's involved, because at the end of the day you'll be surrounded by people that are user friendly to the handlers, else you wouldn't have them as friends. If you have friends and they don't want you to be friends with that person, within 2 weeks I find they're gone from your world, don't matter. So anyone who stays in my world after 2 weeks, I know at the end of the day the handlers want them for some reason, and I don't know their reasoning, but I know that there's these patterns because I've journaled enough. What else can I say? I just want to show you that, you know, bring it, that people don't realise that they've got the gatekeeper controlling their life, and so they wonder, why don't I ever get to do what I intend to do? I think that will do for today on that. I'd like to, meanwhile, while I'm on it, is introduce you to a book that I wrote a few years back called Sex and Drugs and Rabbit Holes. And it's where I was writing blogs and that on Blogspot and places, but websites, and I'm on my about 4th website, and so because they get taken down or messed with, I decided to print them out a few years back, what I'd written then. And so this book has got quite a few topics in it. It's got the paedophile ring, because that's how I ended up learning all this to begin with, is because I helped to revoke a care order on a child who was in care of social services, and then through a 2.5 year court case to get the care order revoked and her return to her mother, then I learned of how the whole system was a bit dirty, and no one was listening to the paedophile aspects, and the child was showing total abuse, and police were covering it, everyone was covering it. And I wrote to Tony Blair and David Blunkett, because they were in charge at the time, MI5. I tried everything. So there's different posts, blogs that I wrote there. Then also I wrote Bursting the Bubbles on mind control and different aspects of mind control, gang stalking, the cult side of things, racism involved in it. So, and then there's a load of poems I wrote which really are about mind control, I suppose. So if you're interested in that book, I haven't got it on Amazon yet. It went up on Lulu.com, but it's very hidden. So it's called Sex and Drugs and Rabbit Holes. If you find it, you find it. It's by me, Louise Clark, BSc Honours. So it's on my website too, higherinsight.co.uk. And it's also on my eBay shop, which I never know the number. It's something like LCO, no, I can't remember. I've got to change it to me. So I hope that helped you to understand yourself and others, and I wish you a good day. Alright then, thanks for listening, bye bye.